Hey, Canadian wine lovers, we are live and we're chatting Canadian wine, and it can't get more Canadian than this because we are talking about the world-class wines from beautiful Nova Scotia. And we've got Benjamin Bridge winemaker Jean-Benoit Deslauriers in the green room to chat with us about this. It's so exciting. Also, because I think we're going to be chatting about Carl's highest rated wine this year, 96 plus points.
Yes, baby. Let's do it.
Very highly rated. Let's do it.
Woohoo! Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country. It's Wednesday. It's 5 o'clock Pacific. It's time to sit back, relax, and pop a bottle of Canadian wines. We are on for the next hour, and we will chat Nova Scotia wine. It's been in the talk for at least 3 years with our members. We've been tasting Benjamin Bridge at all of our top events that we've done since the last 3 to 4 years. Benjamin Bridge always highlights some of these events. I remember doing a back vintage tasting at the Vintage Conservatory. I remember the last two Pan Canadian, the Pan Canadian event that we've done, and more. And this year, my very top rated wine. So, Mira Boucher, are you ready for that?
I am so ready. And guess what? Jean-Benoit is already in the green room, and it is late where he is. Like, we don't realize in Canada that I think we go through four distinct time zones. So it's 5 p.m. here, but it's 9 p.m. in Nova Scotia.
Hey, speaking about time zone, we just back from Europe. Just got back from Europe. I am jet lag as fuck, but I would say my excitement level get my adrenaline right up to the roof, and then so I'm just so thrilled. I don't know what's gonna happen after the show. I'm probably gonna crash like crazy, but yeah, super excited to chat with Jean-Benoit Deslauriers. We have 9 wines that we're featuring starting later tonight. And in that, Mira, there's my very top rated wine that I had this year, a 96 plus points, the 2008. Let
I'm
me
pretty sure
grab
that
that.
was 3 or 4 weeks ago before we went to
Oh, no,
Europe.
no, no.
That
I
was
think it was a month and a half ago.
it was quite a while ago that you rated that live on this show, and
Well,
it
I
is
opened that
spectacular.
bottle by mistake, right? I opened that bottle by mistake and it ended up by
Oh yeah, that was like a while back. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, this very bottle, and we have the team at Benjamin Bridge have put 4 cases aside for Carl's Wine Club members with the feature coming up. But not only I have that 96 plus, but also we have a 95 points, 293. I mean, these sparkling wines are like saying world class is an understatement. These wines can go head to head with some of the greatest champagne. They've done it before. And Benjamin Bridge Sparkling beat Cristal Roderer on the blind tasting with one of my very favorite Canadian wine taster, Tony Aspler. So, I mean, yeah, this is not from yesterday. This has been going on for a very long time that Benjamin Bridge have been kicking asses all over the place with their sparkling wine. And starting this week, we are featuring them in our weekly feature with Carl's Wine Club. So it's a big week for us, Mira. It's a big week.
Yes, absolutely. Just getting all our people online here. I can't wait to hear from Jean-Benoit. So why don't we bring him on?
Before we bring Jean-Benoit, Mira, I want you to have a little sippy sip here of your rosé that you have in your glass because you tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
Is this from Nova Scotia, Carl?
Is it from Nova Scotia? This is from the very same parcel of Cap Franc that we've tasted, that iconic 2016 Cap Franc single vineyard that we tasted at our Cap Franc marathon. So that's from the same plot. This is their Wild Rock rosé right there. So really cool little Cap Franc rosé. I love it. So
super refreshing and super tasty. So
I know. Like lots of energy in that wine. Lots of energy, and it's very, very tasty as well. So, yeah, welcome to all of our listeners from across the country. Welcome here. Daryl is on. Daryl, I want to know what you cracked tonight. Tell me what's in your glass. Everyone who's joining, I want to know which Canadian wine you have. Hey, by the way, I'm rocking my baseball hat. It's the World Series. The Blue Jays are rocking. They're leading 2-1. So it's absolutely crazy in Toronto right now. But I get my Canada Little League hat purchased at the Little League headquarters when we went to Pennsylvania earlier in our trip. So yeah, a little homage at our Canadian sports industry. So yeah, rocking.
all right. So without further ado, here is Jean-Benoit Deslauriers tuning in from Nova Scotia, winemaker at Benjamin Bridge, who we're just teasing you about right now because you can't even buy any of these wines anywhere until we send out the link very soon. But Jean-Benoit, here he comes. Hello.
Good evening. How are you doing? You don't appear to be jet lagged at all. You are in rare and fine form.
Thank you.
Hi, JB. I mean, welcome, JB. It's so nice to have you. Thanks for joining us. It's 9:00 in Nova Scotia. I don't have a fucking clue what time is it here. My body clock is all over the map. Maybe it's still on Romanian time. I had the privilege to taste some Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir in Romania last week. I think it's a week ago now. But yeah, we had a really good time out in Europe. Have you been to Romania?
I have not. And
No?
Carl, you're so tired. You are transforming into a hummingbird, I think. Is that true? Or
I don't know. Maybe.
Daryl's got a beautiful Chardonnay in his glass from Pearl Morisette, the 19e.
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
And
that's
2018. That is a cellar treasure, to say the least. So, yeah, that's a very special
Hopefully
wine.
it's showing nicely tonight, Daryl, for you.
Have you tasted the Pearl Morisette stuff lately, Jean-Benoit? Are you a fan of what they're doing?
You know what? To be perfectly honest, I have not tasted the wines in the last 2 years. So I probably have to go back in time at least 3 years. But of course, I am not as connected as you are. I'm sure you've had the wines many times as of late. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, Cuvée 19e and a Cuvée Madeleine, they're Cabernet Franc, and it's something that it's always blow my socks off. They're Riesling with the Black Ball series, always over delivering. I mean, the wines are not cheap, but man, that they're good. So yes, we're a big fan. We featured Pearl Morisette a couple times in our in Carl's Wine Club. Hey,
Yeah.
Jean-Benoit, because I tasted all of these wines, I decided today to go with something that you're pretty familiar with, but I'm not sure if you tasted Peter Gamble's new sparkling. This is the Dobbin sparkling. Did you have a chance to taste it?
I am not, but I am very excited, and I cannot wait to try this. And maybe I know you had Peter participated in the Pan-Canadian this year in Ontario, but Peter's impact on the Nova Scotia wine industry is profound. So he, along with Anne Sperling, were really the two individuals that have identified traditional method sparkling as a bit of a climatic match made in heaven with the ecosystem immediately surrounding the Bay of Fundy. They are the ones that have really seen, like in their crystal ball, how something really special could come out of that terroir. So I think that, at Benjamin Bridge, there's no question that history will remember them as having had a transformative impact on the region, for sure.
I mean, they found it, they started it, but I mean, you took over. Now you took over. Which year that you came on board at Benjamin Bridge, Jean-Benoit?
Well, small world. Peter actually hired me alongside the chef de cave at Piper Heights. His name was Raphael Brisebois, and Raphael had interviewed me in Paso Robles. I was working in California at the time in 2007. So that's why I am sporting a white beard. I'm showing my age.
Well, that's why. That's a little reason why I popped that tonight, because I knew I wanted to bring the point. I knew that you had a really close connection with Peter and Anne, and this is their very first sparkling release, traditional method release at Dobbin. I mean, I've been a huge fan of what they're doing at Dobbin, and Nathan sent me a couple bottles while I was away in Europe. I came back from Europe and I was right on my porch, so I was really excited to open that, and I told Mira that we're going to wait to be with you on the live show so we can connect the dot on the reason why you made the move from California to Nova Scotia, which when you tell that to a normal person, completely pragmatic, and say, this guy moved from California to Nova Scotia to make wine in 2007. I mean, 95% of the people will say, he did what? And yes, you moved from California to Nova Scotia to pursue winemaking. And oh my God, the impact that you had on the development of Benjamin Bridge in Nova Scotia, Jean-Benoit. I mean, tasting the traditional method. I know that you had an incredible background before you got there, but can you tell us about how, before Benjamin Bridge, how did you climb the rank and you ended up taking the reign at one of the biggest and most best performing sparkling house in Canada?
Oh, well, I don't like to talk about myself more than I absolutely have to, but
let's take 2 minutes to talk about you, the man, and we're going to talk about the terroir that you're representing after. Give us 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, so, I mean, one really interesting thing about many, kind of practitioners and wine professionals that started in the 90s is that wine did not really have kind of like that element of social status and prestige that it does today. Kind of that real resonance as something that would be part of this kind of like Epicurean wave that would include all the cooking shows and the traveling shows. So it kind of goes hand in hand with this fascination for like a Eurocentric kind of like way of life that has been, somewhat glorified, I think, like over the last 10 years. But if you go back to the 90s, when I started in wine, that was a very different time. For example, like a chef would have been a profession that, had none of that glamour, really. Like, it was really a trade for social drifters that like would have been somewhat kind of below like trades, trades like from a really stereotypical perspective of social status. It would have been below, trades like a plumber and an electrician in a sense, like it was, it was a safe haven, like kitchens, for lost souls.
That's
I
so
had
true. That is so true.
and again, we're talking about kind of like the culinary scene, behind the curtains, like in the late 90s. I remember growing up, I had a book called Mickey Goes West or something like that. It was one of those Walt Disney books. And Mickey and Dingo, like they screwed up, like they faltered, like they made some kind of mistake, that was really embarrassing. And the punishment, like the literal punishment for screwing up, was that they had to cook for the rest of the crew who could go on their horses to fight crime as vigilantes. And so it was an actual humiliation to like to stay behind and prepare a meal. So wine, again, was popular, but in small circles. That would be kind of like if you're putting a group together to go to Comic-Con and you speak the language of, the aliens in Star Trek. And so ultimately, the true story is, again, like most people that grew up in the 70s and 80s were not perfectly validated as children. We kind of grew up as just there, like in the living room, like nobody was paying too much attention, and certainly not showering us with compliments on our extraordinary talents or anything like that. So as a teenager in the 90s, I was looking for my place in the world, and I stumbled upon a wine advisor for the SAQ, who took me under his wing, hired me in that store, and really passed on this passion for life. And because I was looking for, kind of, validation and somewhat of a home, like a bit of I was presenting myself, to the world, like looking for
a little bit of a status.
Well, just something that would become kind of my thing. And so I really gobbled it up, and that really kind of became the thing that I always knew I was going to pursue. And I moved to California with reckless abandon, to do everything in my power to kind of make my way kind of through the wine industry there. And I caught a lucky break, with some I had studied science in school, so I was able to get a little job in a wine lab, and then I got a lucky break as an assistant winemaker in Ojai, and started working in the Central Coast, in Ojai and in Santa Maria at a winemaking kind of facility called CCWS, and it all started that way. And I had to hang in there. I remember I lived in an Airstream trailer at first that had, like, on a ranch, it had rats kind of going in and out at night. And when I went to my first interview, like, I had just enough money to put gas in the car, like in the fuel tank. And so I kind of put it all on the line, and lo and behold, looking back 30 years later, I'm glad that I did.
I mean, this is incredible. I love that story, Jean-Benoit. And in talking about terroir, I mean, you started your career in the Central Coast. They cannot be more opposite terroir, or I don't know. You tell me otherwise, if there's some similarity between Santa Maria in the Central Coast and Baie Fundy in Nova Scotia. But to me, it seems like complete opposite. type of terroir. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're absolutely correct. I mean, from a soil point of view, yes, but I would say climatically also. However, from a perspective of climatic changes, because the needle is moving at a planetary level, today's climatic parameters in Nova Scotia are a lot closer to what it was in Santa Barbara, what we'll call that like 20 years ago. And so there is a certain closing of the gap between, kind of today's version of Nova Scotia and, Santa Barbara 20 years ago. Obviously, everything kind of moves as one, but you would see something like that in France too, where I think the climatic parameters in Champagne today are similar to the Burgundy parameters in the early 2000 as well. So
there's definitely a shift to it definitely goes from region to region. I mean, this is absolutely.
Yeah, and it kind of moves as one block, globally as and yeah. So today's version of kind of what used to be a cool climate bordering on cold is obviously very different from what it was 20 years ago. I think that kind of like inevitable truth and an inevitable fact about the 2008 Brut Reserve that you liked so much, and we are obviously quite honored by kind of all of the fanfare and your your approbation of it. It does mean a lot, but something that's inevitable about it, and kind of a little sad, is that I do not believe that it would be possible to make that wine today, because as we know, wines are made in the vineyard first and foremost, and the profile of that wine, has roots in what I would describe as almost like the summers of our childhood. It was a really cool year in 2008, and that is why this wine has such extraordinary longevity and had so much, so much youth and vibrancy 15, 16 years later. It's also a wine that was very austere in its youth. And sometimes if a wine kind of peaks too early, it's not necessarily a great candidate for the cellar. You need wines that are a little austere and full of tension in their youth, and possibly as such unapproachable, to then become great down the road, like that that metamorphosis from the worm to the butterfly, like, implies that it like a wine needs to be almost off-putting in its youth to be great 20 years later.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that, because just before I left for Europe, I was tasting some wines in tank with Richard De Silva, and Richard's always mentioned the same thing. I don't like if my wines feel kind of ready just before I put them in bottle. He said this is not a good sign for longevity. He is always looking for something a little bit exactly the same word, austerity, on an early age, so these wines can show better over time. So definitely that's the kind of conversation that I have with some of your peers lately.
Carl, I don't know. I'm assuming that this, like all good things, this interview will come to an end, and I at some point, and I want to make sure that I mention something to you before I move on here, and I don't really know when that is, but I don't want to risk it, so I'll go for it. Obviously, in the aftermath of all these kind of tariff turmoils, these kind of these trade war trials and tribulation, there was a resurgence, right, of this kind of like, I think, interest and like effervescence, no pun intended, about Canadian products, right, of all kinds. And like wine is a bit of a flagship or kind of emblematic symbol of our of our response, right, of our defense, like the pulling out of the American wine at the LCBO. And it's really interesting because ultimately, from a quantifiable point of view, it's not. It could be worth millions of dollars, but it's still probably a fraction of, other industries that are not under the spotlight as much, like such as I don't know, obviously forestry, metals, and like semiconductors, or so there are things that, again, are not as present, businesses that are much larger that are not as present in the collective unconscious, but wine is. And so it was a bit of a flagship retaliatory kind of vehicle. And in that context, a lot was said about people saying Canadian wine should come together, and obviously it goes without saying that those words are very true. And I think everybody on this call or on this, that's here on today, like would agree with that unconditionally. But I just want to mention that you've echoed those exact sentiments for many, many years, in the exact same words and the exact same phrasing that we've heard in the aftermath of the trade dispute. And there is absolutely, it's almost a carbon copy of your introductions to each of the Pan-Canadian. And I just want to highlight that this very unfortunate kind of event, politically and whatnot, economically, really highlighted something that you've been saying, for many years. And kudos to you for your foresight on that and for saying it before it was fashionable.
Well, I appreciate that, because there's one thing, as you know, and we are, like the group of us, we all have the same belief. Canadian wines are truly world class. Nova Scotia sparkling wines can compete with Champagne. Ontario Cabernet Franc Chardonnay can definitely compete with Burgundy and Loire Valley. And when I say compete, I don't like to say compete anymore. I like to say they're comparable, right? Like alongside, these wines are different, but in terms of quality, they're definitely up there. And there's many different, like here in BC, we have some red blends and our Syrahs. There's so many outstanding products. I had the privilege, Mira and I, to meet the winemakers, to meet the winery owners like you, like Brian Schmidt, like Richard De Silva, like these guys who, Peter Gamble and Anne Sperling. I mean, these people who have forged our industry over the last 25 years, and now our product, what we have on the shelf, is truly world class. And I mean, that's when we started Carl's Wine Club, Mira and I knew that Mira was truly a world class marketer. She had so many skills. And I'm like, and my belief on Canadian wine was just like, it was a no brainer to get out there and push for that. And now that's so funny, because with the trade, like we mentioned, the trade barriers, like everyone are going up an arm and say, yeah, we should taste Canadian wine. And say, there you go. There you go. That's what we're doing. So, I mean,
obviously, it remains as true now as it was when you first, brought our attention to the importance of unity from coast to coast. But yeah, unity from coast to coast is also something that you've been. It was
absolutely
a vision that you had, and anyways, kudos for your foresight there. Any advice that would help us make money? Like, what's the next Bitcoin or something like that? Do you have any tricks?
And you know what? Now what we're doing, and hopefully it will help, because with promoting Canadian wines on their own have been great to us for Mira and I. Now what I want to do is starting to introduce the international wine alongside of what we're doing more and more. And that's why that trip to Burgundy was not only to go and to taste, to to rediscover all of these amazing Burgundy and Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, but that was to bring our Canadian wines with us. So people, you should have seen, we met the head instructor at La Cité des Climats in Beaune, and she's teaching wine to all. Thanks, Mira, you're amazing.
Mira, we can see your special touch here, right here.
Yeah,
someone's
so
on the ball. Someone's showing off, and then someone's doing the work behind the scenes. You know,
I know, right? I know. I always said I'm just a wine guy here, okay? But that lady, I blind tasted her with 2 Canadian wines, with the De Silva Legato Chardonnay and Clausen Chase South Slope, and to see her expression, she couldn't believe it. She she just couldn't. She kept saying about the Chardonnay. She kept saying, "Oh, mais c'est radieux ça, mais c'est radieux ça, mais c'est bon ça." And she kept going and going until I told her it was a Chardonnay from the Okanagan Valley, and she's like, "From where?"
let me ask you, Carl. There's only one question that I have, but how many points did that special Chardonnay scored in the Carl's ranking of wines? Like,
I give it 83 points to that Chardonnay.
Oh my God! Oh! Wow!
But more than that, it was just like I mean, a reaction worth at least it was at least a 99 points reaction. And she's tasting Keith Dyer's Pinot Noir, and she kept saying it's a classique, mais tellement classique. And she kept saying that was such a classic wine that in any lineup of Burgundian that will go, people will call that as a Burgundian wine. So I mean, doing that now totally validate what we've been doing, and we want to do more. We want to take Sauvignon Blanc. We want to take Chenin Blanc and Cap Franc to the Loire. I would love to take our Riesling to Alsace and Germany and keep doing these kind of thing. It's such a privilege to have the let's see, the trust of our producer and doing that. So no, it was truly unique experience, and we're excited to take 15 couples of our members with us to Burgundy next June. So we're going to have a fantastic trip. It's going to be amazing.
Precious cargo. 15 Carl's Wine Club member. Well, no, 30 members.
30 members.
So was that like a scouting trip, where you got to be wined and dined by dangling the carrot of bringing a group of 30 people down the road?
That's exactly what we did. What we did.
Not a freeloading, huh?
Nah, I mean, the French are not too much on the free stuff. I'll tell you one thing. They're all excited to see us, but the bills still come in every time at the end. And I tried to look for the discount, and no, there's none.
Okay. So, yeah, that's something I have to say. And then we have to let Jean-Benoit go, because it is 4 hours later there. And I don't want to let him go without a very quick recap of the wines, because we're teasing people enough with this.
We're teasing. We're dangling the carrot.
But I have to say, with the French, I mean, we don't realize how spoiled we are here, that we can just drive up to a winery whenever they're open and just pull in and start tasting their wines. The wineries in Burgundy, like, we're driving around, famous wineries, right? And they got a big gate. They look like a house. Like, they look like you're driving along these tiny little towns, and you see, like, Jean-Benoit Deslauriers, winemaker, Benjamin Bridge. That's what little plaque on the door. And that's it. That's the winery.
Sometimes there's like a little intercom, there's an
intercom. You would have to buzz and then be like, "Who are you? Why are you here? You have an appointment?"
There's an intercom and a Doberman, too.
Yeah. And so we realize how spoiled we are, that we can just kind of waltz around the Okanagan and stop by in different places and taste wines for really inexpensive tasting fees. If you do get in with an appointment at one of these places, like Carl said, they'll charge you for all the wines. Like, it's not like you get a cheap free tasting or something out of it. So it's quite something.
Spirit, again, hospitality and I think it's really important to be warm and welcoming, and good things come from that. And Mira, I just want to say that obviously you weren't on screen, and so I was speaking to Carl as such. But I just want to say that that's the only reason why I was addressing him. Um, Obviously I extend kind of the same admiration to you for your for really being ahead of the curve in bringing Canadian producer together from coast to coast.
Oh, we so appreciate those kind words, Jean-Benoit. And we appreciate all that you have done also to be at the Pan Canadians the last couple times, and just it was just so
Yeah.
so wonderful that you
Well,
embraced that mission with us.
the stars aligned, and let's do that little blitz there, Carl. What do we got?
Okay, so before we talk the sparkling, because you have a flagship, okay, this is your Nova 7.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, speaking about points, I give 90 plus points to that beautiful Nova 7. I mean, tell me a little bit the blend and the purpose of that wine, because I mean, it's been your business card. It's been the opening line of Benjamin Bridge for many years. I believe that this wine is available in every single province of our beautiful country.
Mhm. Well, true story, and those that are familiar with Nova Scotia and maybe Halifax will attest. Like Nova Scotians have a sweet tooth, and perhaps the best embodiment of that is a really kind of disgusting sauce that they put on their donaires. So like it would be like a kebab type sandwich with like shaved meat. So kind of a Middle Eastern style pita sandwich. But in Nova Scotia, the claim to fame of the donaire is to drench it in condensed milk that is as sweet as a dessert, and you have to put a lot of that white sauce on it, which is very different from like a Middle Eastern tzatziki or something like that. And so, because of Nova Scotians' penchant for sweetness, Nova 7 has been a real success. And essentially, what it is it capitalizes on our ability to build very fragrant floral aromatics, like a lot of cold climates. Think about Austria or Germany, maybe, and simultaneously, there is a little bit of unfermented sugars. It's a wild indigenous fermentation, and what happens is because we have such extraordinary acidity in our wines, it completely brings the residual sugar like in a context of balance, maybe like some great Spätlese or cabinet wines like from Austria. So it's not like a Moscato d'Asti. It's like a Moscato d'Asti on steroids because it's got so much acidity.
Yeah, and I remember like before we left for Europe when I was tasting that wines, and I was shocked to see the RS level. I'm like, what? I think it's 35 gram or something like that. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
holy smokes! Blind taste, I will give that 9 gram of residual sugar or something like that. And now, when you bring yourself back into the perspective of the terroir with that beautiful bright acidity, it's just absolutely fantastic. And so that little carbonation, is it something that it's been part of the profile of Nova 7 every year?
Yeah. So what we do is we ferment at really low temperatures, and there's a bit of a chemical rule, that essentially ensures that the CO2 remains in solution and doesn't go out of solution at colder temperature. So it preserves that little kind of fermentation fizz. So it's not a sparkling wine. I think the right word would be a purlong or something like that. Like it's like a little kind of, there's a little frizzante in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that. And it's really pleasant. Like it adds to the freshness. It's really nice.
What do you got next?
Yeah, so that's Nova 7. And yeah, is it true? Is it in every single province of Canada?
Oh yeah, and it's also the highest selling wine in Nova Scotia, all countries and categories combined. Like at the NSLC, like so our equivalent of the LCB or the BCLDB, they sell more Nova 7 than they do, Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc, or like any of the other, like kind of like industrial wines, really. So I don't think that I'm aware of another artisanal wine that's like this, that would be wild fermented, that kind of beats the the bigger international brand at the game of volume.
Well, let's do. I love that. I love that story. So let's get with the big guns, because I have three big guns here. We already spoke about we already spoke about the 2008. Yeah, let's not get back at. Oh, okay. Yes, I want to get back to it. 96.
Well, no, you have mentioned that wine many times. So yeah, I agree. We can highlight something that maybe has not received as much spotlight as that one. Yeah.
But hey, I just want to speak about the blend for the 2008. That was early in your career at Benjamin Bridge. So you mentioned colder year, so austere out of the gate. So this one here, we're talking about, it's a Brut Reserve. So are you 50-50 kind of Pinot Noir Chardonnay, or?
That is normally something we like for the Brut Reserve, to really kind of have the best of both worlds. So the the Chardonnay providing kind of its brightness and its tension, and then the Pinot Noir providing a lot of its richness and kind of textural roundness. So like we like this kind of best of both worlds 50-50 approach, but it's never set in stone, because every year it's the base wines that will inform us what the Brut Reserve will be made of. Like, it's not a rigid, I guess, it's not a
recipe.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty democratic how it comes to life.
There you go. Let's go to rosé. Okay, we have the 2018. The 2018 Brut Rosé, which I gave a 93 plus points when I tasted it. I thought that the complexity of that wine was truly highlighting the diversity and this very special terroir that you have. So can you tell me a little bit more about the 2018 Brut Rosé?
Well, what I will say is that normally the rosé will be the home of the Pinot Meunier, because it would be like the three amigos of Champagne would be Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. But Pinot Meunier, both in terms of acreage planted and prevalence in blends, would definitely be the third wheel. And the Pinot Meunier has a little bit more fruit. It's not quite as mineral and complex. So we think that in the context of, maybe it's like a mid-tier, like vintage rosé, it's an ideal candidate. So because it will kind of give it a nice kind of creaminess, I guess, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, and totally. And there's the flintiness specifically on that rosé that I don't get in the other one. This one has like a true flint component. Is it from the Meunier, or?
I would point to the Chardonnay, probably the Chardonnay component, which is still if you look at it's still the majority component, Chard. It's definitely what we have the most of. Yeah.
Okay. 93 plus, and now we get to the 2017.
Yes.
Okay, 2017, the Brut. So tell me a little bit more about this one. I mean, these wines, Jean-Benoit, like absolutely blew my socks off. We are another 93 points here. What makes that 2017 Brut special?
It's an avalanche of 90 plus score.
Absolutely. This is these are the very best in the country. So I didn't expect anything less.
You get a 90, and you get a 90, and you get a 90. Like everyone gets.
You got to be fair to the wines.
Yeah, so that's a Blanc de Blanc. The Brut normally is 100% Chardonnay. So it's really the exploration of kind of that variable on its own. So these wines, if and Carl, you'd have to maybe attest. You know, if your sensory experience right now kind of validates what I'm going to say, but it's that one is like a lightning rod, right? Like it's very racy.
Tension and energy. That's how I
That's right.
define that one. It's tension and
So
energy.
this Brut provides an opportunity to kind of maybe discover our Chardonnay profile on its own, really in this kind of unaltered, very tension-driven kind of way. So that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, no, this is zingy and like lightning focus. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um, Now, at the opposite of that, this is
yeah,
completely at the opposite is the 2020 Blanc de Noir. So
yeah.
yeah, 100%. I don't know if it's 100% Pinot Noir. Maybe there's a bit of Meunier in there, but this is rich and creamy. I mean, if I reflect back on the vintage typicity, if Nova Scotia was anything like Ontario in 2020, we're looking at a warm vintage. So this wine probably gave you a headache or something that you're not used to work with, but the result is incredible. You have maintained a house profile with high acid. To me, I looked around, I gave it a 95 points. It's one of my highest rated wine of the year. It's not even the highest because you did even better with the other one. But honestly, I think I have in the whole year 6 wines rated over 94 points, and you have 2 of them. So yeah, well done, JB. But this 2020 Pinot Noir, Blanc de Noir, tell me a little bit more.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I'll just kind of like echo back to the kind of the general idea behind the Pinot Noir, like combining the complementary qualities of the Pinot and the Chard that come together as the sum of both parts, right? And so you are 100% correct in suggesting that this is the exploration of the other end of the spectrum of the Chardonnay, which is the richness, the kind of the textural roundness, and a much softer profile. And climatically, you're also bang on. 2020 was a warmer year. Kind of I'd call it like a sign of its time kind of vintage that was almost giving us the blueprint for the type of climatic parameters that were to come in the future. So it was the first of its kind of like that. But there have been many like that, not the least of which have been the last 2 vintages.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. That's awesome. That's funny because I was in Romania and I tasted a wine that I didn't know anything about. And I asked the person around me, I said, was it warm in 2024 around here? They said, yeah, why are you asking? I said, because I'm drinking a Sauvignon Blanc here and it feels really, really hot in the wine. So I was kind of finding how the weather was in a certain year by tasting their wine. So Mira was quite shocked. It was like, what are you doing here? Well, I just tried to understand the wine profile.
Second question was, are there the volcanoes where this wine vineyard is? And they're like, oh yeah, lots of old volcanoes. So he knows a thing or two. He can smell.
It tasted salty, so I'm like, yeah, it tastes like some volcanic soil around here. So yeah, no, it was quite fun to discover some Romanian wines.
You could write the next Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah,
with your eyes closed, like you're kind of like the you're like the groundhog coming out of the ground. You can predict the weather.
There
I'll
you
give
go.
yeah. Hey, bye, JB. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to get those wines into our members' hands now. That's the next step starting tomorrow. I greatly appreciate your time. It's so much fun chatting wine with you. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's late now. I have to send you to bed.
Always my pleasure. And I'm an early to bed, early riser, so I'll take you up on that. You guys have a great night. Good luck for your marathon. And Mira, like, don't let him fall, like, start like sleepwalking or crash in the hallway or anything like that.
It feels like 3 a.m. right now for us. So that's yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's so great to see you, Jean-Benoit. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great night and thank you for making such phenomenal wines that we can be so proud of to share with our non-Canadian friends. You know, it's completely
No,
world class, completely amazing.
thank you for all the great works you guys are doing as ambassadors and champions of Canadian wine. So, bye.
Thank you, my friend.
Cheers. Great
Bye.
night. Thank you. Oh, that's so great.
Love that man. I
Yes.
love the guy. He is just so unique and so genuine. And you know what always comes out to my conversation with Jean Benoit? It's humility. This guy is so humble. It's it's mind-boggling. So I hope that he knows that he's making some of the very freaking best wines in the not only in the country. It goes behind our border. What he does, it goes really behind our borders. Uh, and yeah, I'm proud. I'm excited, and I'm humbled to have the privilege to showcase his wines to our members coming up this week. So it's really exciting. 93, 93
Absolutely.
plus, 95, 96 plus. This is the four sparkling wines that we have. No, we have five sparkling wines. I need to find out my scores on the non-vintage brut now. So because this is the non-vintage brut, it's the joker of the whole freaking lineup. It's the $45 wine. And I believe that I gave 94 points. That's the wine that we featured at the Pan Canadian this year. And I gave it a 94 points. It was my very favorite wines of the whole Pan Canadians. So,
That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, this is a bubbly lover's, white and rosé lover's dream. I don't think there's one red wine in this feature, is there?
No, there's none. There's none. We're
Yeah.
all
So
100% white rosés. So even if we have a Pinot Noir, 100% Pinot Noir, it's a white Pinot Noir because it's a sparkling, it's a Blanc de Noir. So, but yeah, we have
there you
lots
go.
of Pinot Noir blended in those wines, but all white representation. So very exciting.
What's brilliant is that the timing is great for two reasons. One is you'll get these wines well in advance of the holiday bonanzas, and so they'll have time to settle down before the holidays. They won't be in bottle shock by being shipped, but also it's a great time to ship bubbly. If you wait too late into the winter, it gets a little riskier with the weather. Bubbly is extra sensitive to the cold,
Yep.
um, and it can turn into a slushy pretty fast. So
Oh, and also when it passed the stage of slushy, it's the stage of explosion, and it becomes pretty fucking messy. So yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
is a great time to send these wines across the country.
And
And
guess what? They gave us an incredible deal on the shipping. $15 for any purchase.
man,
$15. Could you imagine if you live on Vancouver Island?
that's crazy. Like it would probably cost like $80 to ship wine from Nova Scotia
I
to
hope that
Vancouver.
Jane doesn't listen to us and she changed her mind before we.
Careful.
I was shocked when she sent me the email with she confirmed the shipping price. She said, "Yeah, let's do $15. We love you
And
guys."
they're giving us member pricing on the six pack. The six pack has the 18 Brut Rosé, the 24 Wild Rock Rosé, the 24 Nova 7, the non vintage Brut, the 17 Brut, and the 24 Wild Rock White. And they're going to give us, I think, $22 off that pack as a member price. So that's amazing as well. It's going to be awesome. So keep your eyes peeled for the launch email, most likely tomorrow, Thursday. And it'll run all through next week as well. So you'll have a good chance to take a look at these wines, see Carl's tasting notes, his scores, and hopefully snag a few bottles. Yeah, if you are a VIP Unlimited member too, 6+ bottles ships free, so you don't have to pay that $15 at all. And that is also amazing because if you go to their website and you try to ship wines across the country, I don't think it's cheap. I think, you know, especially since Canada Post is maybe not used as much now, they pay a premium being on a big island. Nova Scotia is like far out, so
Absolutely. And these wines are so freaking spectacular.
they really truly are.
Yeah.
They truly are.
It's an
What
avalanche
else
of
we gotta mention?
ice. It's an avalanche of high score. I mean, we just come off Tightrope, which
Get
was
it.
the highest BC rated feature of all year. Now we're heading into into Benjamin Bridge with the very, very top sparkling. And guess what? After that, we're going to feature Clos du Soleil and Batchelder. I mean, it's just an absolute avalanche of a high score until the end of the year. So this is pretty freaking exciting. But if you're looking to stock up on incredible bubbly for the holidays, or not for the holidays, or just for the sake that you love bubbly, just us. I mean, it is amazing. So, and I'm so happy that I had JB and I could pop that up, and he did not. I'm tasting Dobbin's sparkling before Jean-Benoit. That makes me pretty proud because I know that him and Peter Gamble are very close. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's really cool. Really cool. All right, before we let you guys go, I should mention that our advent calendars are back on and they're flying off the shelves right now. I know a few of you have already gotten yours, so you can secure yours and do the 12-day countdown with us. We'll wrap them up real pretty. This was last year's bottles, different, even more exciting packaging coming this year. But yeah, this gives you an idea. This was us wrapping them up. They were quite exciting. And then every night for 12 days, starting on December 14th, we will go live. We will unwrap a bottle and we will chat about it. We will taste it. Many of the times we'll have the winemaker live with us talking about that bottle. And it's just a lot of fun discovering all the different things about Canadian terroir, these stories behind these wines, and getting to taste some pretty spectacular stuff just makes your holidays all that much more
Coast
fun.
to coast, 12 wines, 12 interviews. Yeah, I mean, that was like when we traveled for the Pan Canadian and we went back after for the for our members members reunion, winery of the year. Members kept asking, you better do your advent calendar again this year. That was so much fun to tune in every night. Meet the different winemakers and always see the same wine, the same members tuning in, and like so yeah, it's back, and it's really exciting.
Totally. Yes, Tracy, those members that are going to Burgundy, we will fill you in on all the amazing things we've learned on November 8th for Zoom that. So if
November
you're
8th, so that's coming shortly. Oh my God, yeah, we're gonna have our first Burgundy meetup on a Zoom. That's coming up soon. We have so much to unfold, so much to tell you about our trip. It is really freaking exciting. That's the fake one. That's the real one.
that's the fake one. That's the real one. We stole this picture from a wine enthusiast article, I think, and it turns out they photoshopped that Romane Conti sign. This is the real one. And there is no such thing as a pillar like that with a sign. We looked all around. We found the spot actually that picture comes
Yeah,
from.
there's a pillar. There's the head of the pillar, but there's no plaque on it. So, unless someone stole the plaque lately, but
No, there's no pillar either. Like it's just the steps that are there, the road that goes up. I mean, unless it's some hidden spot that we didn't see, but I'm pretty sure this is photoshopped on, which is kind of funny. But this is the real one. There you go. and
And
it's
that was
glorious. It's spiritual. As a wine person, I mean, it feels like a pilgrimage. You see all these other people kind of walk up. There has to be a sign that says, "We're glad that you're super excited to be here, but please don't jump the fence and go walking in the vineyard. Don't pick the grapes," stuff like that. Uh,
and and also we saw many tourists from all over the world at the wall. We were the only one to taste wine, to drink wine right there. We opened the bottle of Claus and Chase, the South Low 2022, right there. We cheered, we tasted, I spit right there at the wall. And people were like, "You guys are tasting wines?" So yeah, that was pretty cool. And I even called Keith Tyers. I gave him a call while I was right there. I said, "Keith, I have to tell you, I hope you're doing well, but I'm in Burgundy. I'm at the DRC, right by the wall, and I cracked one of your wine. Love you, brother." So yeah, that was pretty cool. Really, really cool moment. And I think Mira just hit the nail on the head. It's spiritual. Absolutely. There's an incredible feeling to be right there. The crown jewel of all vineyards in the world. And I mean, it was, there you go. There you go. That was a incredible moment. We had the chance to experience that together, Mira and I. And yeah, I'm
There
so
you go.
blessed for that. And I can't wait to take you
Very blessed.
there. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. We'll chat soon, you guys. Go Blue Jays, and
Go Blue
hope you have a
Jays.
fabulous night.
Absolutely. So Benjamin Bridge, watch your inbox. If you haven't signed up for the Advent calendar, watch your inbox. If you want to come to Burgundy, watch your inbox.
Or reach
Canadian
out to
wine
us. We'll
lovers,
chat soon.
Carl's Wine Club members. See you next time.